What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Aboutcast. Finally uploaded on a Sunday, back to our regularly programmed schedule, a regularly scheduled program. You know, still shaking some of the rust off. Jordan, how are you?
Dude, I'm doing excellent, man. Like you said, I'm happy to be back and recording somewhat regularly, especially now that life's adjusted enough in both of ours to line up and get these going a lot more than it was previously.
Yeah, in the past couple months we've been pretty busy, but still kicking it, still shooting around ideas. Happy to be back. And today we're going to take a little bit more relaxed approach and just kind of run you through a day in the life of, ourselves, being on different sides of the country, different industries. Maybe that'll trigger some talking points for us and, open to some bigger conversation. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. Jordan, if you had to describe the first thing you do to start your day off right, what would that be?
Well, nowadays, since my country is on lockdown and I can't go anywhere really, the first things that I do is I'll wake up, check the time, and then I'll run through. Basically, I try to do what I'm grateful for and just do a couple things, and then after that, take a couple of breaths, and then I try to just hit the workout right away. How about you?
Yeah. In current times, try to get up about 5 o'clock, shower and stuff and try to collect my thoughts. And typically I'm more of I like to go with the flow as much as possible, but usually in the morning I try to at least have an understanding of what may occur throughout the course of my day. So whether that's work, a workout, going on a walk, playing a video game, making dinner, just watching Netflix, whatever it may be, just kind of get some of those ideas in my head. So at least I have somewhat of a direction to follow and can kind of pivot easily from there.
Usually, so it sounds like you don't have a set plan or idea normally throughout the day. Is that right? Or how you start your day? It could vary. So it's any day Julian could be doing working out, could be watching Netflix, could just be drinking some tea. Does that sound right?
Yeah, basically just kind of let each day come and go. I don't try to constrain myself to a certain schedule or rigid outline. I try to keep it in some way at some base of a foundation. Usually there's one key component, that's either I make that key component, the work portion, or I make that key component, maybe it is that workout, or maybe it is a dinner for that day, whatever it is, and then kind of branch from there.
You're straight riffing, dude. I'm a big fan of just kind of being free with the flow. But I feel nowadays, structure is what's keeping me sane. I don't know if, you find this now, and I'm not even sure if you guys are locked down in Oregon yet. I don't think so. Are you?
Yeah, we just had our stay in place put in place on Monday. So, I don't know if it's nearly as rigid as what it is overseas, but, it did start on Monday officially, but we've kind of been practicing it in our house since last Monday. But it has been interesting.
Yeah. What do you find anything different between, lockdown lifestyle compared to lifestyle before?
Well, I'm going to say for me personally, no. I usually am a big practicer of social distancing whenever I can. But it makes me wonder, Jordan, I've had to pick up or adopt or pivot my workout routine, and seeing how you start your day with a workout. What have you done differently for your workout routine?
Oh, dude, it's been quite an adjustment. I remember, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago that they basically shut down all the gyms, and I had a meltdown, not meltdown, but I freaked out a little bit, dropped what I was doing, went straight to the gym, to go like get my last workout in at night. It was on a Friday night, I remember. So now what I do is I'll do like a whole bunch of random things. I hit a lot of push-ups. I did a lot of like wall ups almost, like vertical push-ups for a little bit. I say a lot, but it's like more of I definitely don't do a lot. Probably like I'll do like sets of 2, but I just got the most clutch thing ever. I got a 20 kilo. Dude, you know that I was already strapped with that bad mama jamma. No, I got a 20 kilo kettlebell, which is about like almost 45 pounds. So I've used that for like, almost anything, like shoulder workout, obviously like legs and stuff, swinging that sucker. So that's what I'm using now. It's like, that's the star of the show. It's me and the 20 kgs and Uncle Tony.
It makes me realize, like, pivoting to a more constrained workout, so to speak, how awesome it would be if I could just continue this in some regards, whether that was to pick up, maybe it's just those dumbbells that alternate weight, or maybe it is just a set of kettlebells to do, in a small area like that. Because I feel like my workouts overall have been more efficient as of recently, or less distracting. And I feel like I'm focusing more on the workout than, a certain time frame or something of that.
Well, I think that it fundamentally changes the game in the aspect of you're in a different environment. You have different tools as far as like, every single workout that I do is different now. And, I think that adjusting to all those things, it could enable you to just cut the fat. Like basically, you're not waiting around anymore. I don't have to go to a gym. I literally just like take a couple steps and I'm there, less than a couple. So I think that it's, in this different environment, like your mindset will change a lot. I can tell that it's going to be, if I get disciplined, it's going to just be like automatic, but there'll be days where I don't want to work out, don't want to like just get sweaty in this, like, in a room. But we'll see, I think it's going to get done.
Agreed. I think it definitely is building some mental resilience and fortitude, because it's very easy to get complacent in, the space, talking about quarantines or lockdowns, just being in your home. And so outside of working out during this time, have you had to pivot any other of your typical daily methods?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, now that I'm working from home, that's a big pivot, right? And granted, like workflow that hasn't changed much, and I think it's even gotten busier, but I don't have like an extra monitor. And granted, like I really got caught with my pants down when it comes to this coronavirus, being that I was like, right now I'm in Airbnb. I was in between leases and I should have been traveling this week, just like seeing places, but everything got locked down. And so I literally had to like slide into this Airbnb kind of like last second, to get it cracking. But I think that there's a lot that's changed. But fundamentally, I would say like, one thing that's changed a lot is being, taken for granted, like outside and being able to move freely. I think that now that I know that I can't, it's like, I don't know how to describe it, man, but, I feel like my day has a different cadence, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I would agree. It's always interesting when there's something that's always accessible and someone tells you you can't do it. And then you realize how nice it is in any regards, big or small, to utilize that element or space or idea and, in some reason. But everyone's kind of adjusting. And I find it funny when you talk about working from home. Have you found to feel more efficient or less efficient in different areas working from home?
So I think that it's more like it's either like on it, like literally I'll just be like laser focused and get it done, or it won't be. And I think that some of that has to do with just kind of like not having the right setup, like, having like a really tiny little desk and, not like, not really hooked up as far as the environment. But I think that it's like quite on and off. And I noticed that I'm in a lot more meetings. So it's just like meetings are like anti-productivity to me, like literally just sitting there. And granted, you can get some good ideas going in meetings, but I think that, the business is had and made when you're just like in there getting to work. But that's just me. Are you anti-meeting?
I mean, in some regards, but, I think, luckily with the meetings I've had to do from home this week, they've been pretty structured and beneficial to a larger goal, and they're not too frequent. And I can, luckily build my own day with the work that I do to schedule those in appropriately. But I do feel, since I typically work in a open office type environment, it's a very face-to-face meeting and talking out obstacles and things that working alone at home, I've definitely been more efficient with, less of those social interactions happening. I do feel that in some cases, some of the ideas may be slipping by, or I'm not, brainstorming as often, but it has been interesting to adjust to, a different work environment when, in your home, there's a ton of distractions in itself. So kind of building up another side of, that mental strength to stay, on the computer, on the job for 8 to 9 hours a day for, an unknown amount of time.
Dude, so I'm curious. I have two kind of questions ish and a point. I could see you as being the business up top, party down low type of guy when it comes to the meetings. As far as, I don't know if you video conference in, but button up shirt, and then it's just rock and roll where the camera stops. Am I right or am I right?
I would say on that one, not so much, but sometimes I think about it.
Idealizing, I guess. And then my second point is what is your favorite part about your day and your like current life right now, as far as your daily, like, the day in the life? What is your favorite part of the day in the life?
Currently just not having a reasonable excuse to not interact with people. That's real great. I don't really have to focus on going to the store too often or going to large social gatherings, or turning down a bar invite or whatever it is. It's just been easy to like relax and stay at home. Outside of that, I think I enjoy with the current situation, the creativity that it has forced, and fostered to, stop oneself from diving too deep or, losing some of that mental capacity. I don't know if that's the right term, but, not going stir crazy.
Gotcha. So just your ability of just kind of being able to just be with yourself and your thoughts and just get on with it, it sounds like is something that you really enjoy.
I would say that's accurate. How about on your end?
Dude, to be honest, like, it's going to sound ridiculous, but I actually that's exactly what I was going to say. The thing I really appreciate and enjoy is, being able to like really sit and dissect and, really try to understand my thoughts and kind of, just be in deep thought and not be, breaking out of that or anything. I feel like I can manage almost my focus, or I have like more independence on where my focus is at. Short of when people, can't now come up to me and like, even though if it might be like good conversation, that conversation flow was, might have been interrupting like a deep thought or like, some serious problem solving going on. So I really appreciate not having that. And, But at the same time, like, I think that communication on a whole is really good, especially when you need to be creative or on the same team and stuff. So it's a super double-edged sword. But right now, I think since I haven't had this, I think that like the ability to just like focus and be with my own thoughts for as long as I want to is one of my favorite parts too.
That's fair. And so on the opposite side then, what would you say the biggest obstacle has been with the quarantine or lockdown?
Oh, easy, dude. So I would say my setup. Like, if I was in my place right now, it'd just be way better as far as multiple things. And I'd just be much more comfortable. So I think once I move in, which now it got pushed back a week since, the lockdown has been, legit like 3 weeks starting a couple days ago. But yeah, I think that'll be it. Just not having my own like true space, I think has, really stifled the flow. How about yourself?
I think on this end, being in the Pacific Northwest, right when this started to occur is when we started to get some, nicer days out. So it is unfortunate. Like it's, probably just took it for granted prior, but the ability just to go to like a park and, put up a couple jump shots, a couple free throws, walk around, things like that. And then I would say internally, like within the household, I think the toughest thing is planning ahead for what I want to eat, right? Because here, everything's obviously closed except for grocery stores and pharmacies and hospitals. And so like planning ahead to pick up planning ahead for food, and then two, actually going to the grocery store and trying to find those items has been difficult because obviously everyone else is in the same boat. So if you go at the wrong time, they could be missing out on rice or chicken or pasta, whatever that may be. So kind of pivoting from there has been difficult. And I would say in some people's cases, it could be frustrating as well.
Yeah. And, I think first off, I was just thinking, how insane is it that there's this event or this thing that has forced everyone's life to be uniform? Like, I don't think we've ever had similar lives since I moved over to London, Julian, but now it's like truly similar. As far as we stay inside, we work on our computers. We wonder what it's like to be outside. Maybe we go out for like a brief moment. But it's interesting that, we live on different sides of the world, but are doing the exact same thing, through circumstance.
I would agree. It's odd how the playing field is leveled out because, you look at all incomes, races, locations, and for the most part, the ones who are, trying to help are doing the same thing, whether you're, Bill Gates or you're, sharing an apartment with 6 dudes in college. It's all the same. You're all fighting, similarly for the same resources, kind of in the same day-to-day grind. If you had been working from home, it has been an interesting thing and has sparked a lot of, interesting conversations about, the future after this, if things change or if this provides any insight to how people should communicate or take care of others and things like that.
Yeah, man. I think that this has been a crystal clear experience or illustration of the lack of need of like office, pretty much, at least from my perspective, being that my company's quite electronic based as far as being able to do everything you need to do over the internet. Then it just shows that we don't necessarily need an office. It might be helpful for like really quick conversations, but once you get skilled at things like Microsoft Teams or Slack, it's simple. But I think that yeah, this is going to be kind of a illustrator, or people will take what they want from this experience. Either it'll show them that, hey, I hate this. I want to be like out and about with people, or this is actually my flow. I get to focus like way harder, and I have my setup here. I think that it'll be a case by case basis, but it's now really cool to know that people are forced to acknowledge, in a sense, that this is a viable option. At least that's what I think is cool at this point. I mean, in relative sense, it is absolutely a viable option to work from home or wherever there's Wi-Fi.
Exactly right. And it shows you how many things could have just been said in an email as the meme that's going around. And so on this last tidbit here, Jordan, what is one piece of content, whether that's a book, YouTube video, TV show, etc., that you'd recommend to someone who is also nice layup there?
Yeah. Don't alley me like that again if you don't want me to dunk it.
Outside of our podcast.
Outside of our podcast, some sort of kind of like stimulus that I am like hot on. I would say that, that's a good question. There's a few things, I go through phases of stuff. So it could be right now, obviously, being that I was super into jujitsu. So, I'll watch like jujitsu videos here and there. It could also be like a podcast. I'm a big fan of, like some of the more educational ones. So like Philosophize This, where they go over like, the philosophy of, or the history of philosophers and what they're about, or the Jocko podcast. I'm started to do a little bit of writing via Jordan Peterson's self-authoring program, which has actually been quite interesting. So I'd say it's a mix, man. It's, it's whatever you want. But if it was like a go-to, reach out to the other podcasts. There's some really good ones, after ours, of course. But how about yourself?
I found that that masterclass program's been pretty cool in this time. And a lot of those videos, if you search hard enough, you can find, either a trial or maybe a snippet here and there if you aren't willing to pay $15 a month. But that's been pretty cool to learn, whether it's writing stand-up comedy or filming, music, cooking, etc. I think that's been a pretty cool, educational and informative piece of entertainment or content that I've been utilizing during the quarantine.
So it sounds like we're both on just getting on our grind, and, being that this is a rare opportunity of like kind of like raw focus, for 3 weeks from my end, that's what I'm like super keen on. But anyway, I hope you guys got something out of this, kind of a really casual one, talking about our days in the lives of something that I think we will all remember for the rest of our lives. And it's actually cool to have a documentation on, what were we about? What were we thinking? What were we doing even in this time? So, it's more monumental than just a couple of dudes talking. I think that we all kind of can think about that, and the fact of you might have just shared a personal diary, of, remember that one time, that massive pandemic? Yeah, well, there was a couple of dudes on a podcast just getting it.
Yeah, and if you ever do decide to use this for your documentary about 2020, I suggest that you call it Hindsight 2020, because we're only a quarter of the way through the year and some pretty wild stuff has happened. So we appreciate you guys for listening. We'll be back, as always, next Sunday for the third in a row, which for a while we did 52 in a row, and we're going to get back to 52 in a row, but 1 week at a time. If you guys, have any interesting things you've been learning or trying out during the quarantine or lockdown, or any pieces of content you enjoy, just shoot them over our way. Our email's down in the show notes, and we'll catch you guys next week.